Well, hi there. It's Tiffany from Daisy Farm Crafts, and today I'm going to do a tutorial for these twist headbands that are made from Red Heart Super Saver Brushed. They're similar to something I did last year, but I think these work up just a little bit faster. It's alternating slip stitch with a row of single crochet, and we're working all in the round. So all you'll need is one of these. Each one makes one. You have a little bit left over, but not enough for two. So, and this is a 4-weight acrylic. Of course, you can use any 4-weight acrylic for this pattern, but I loved the brushed. I felt like it just gave it a really nice look to it. This color is called Soft Brick. They're starting to get a nice range of colors in this brand. And then I am going up a hook size. I'm using a J, 6mm. We really want to keep our work nice and loose when we're working in the round. So first thing we're going to do is make a chain that is 10 inches long. So for me, that was about 36 chains. So somewhere in there. But if you have a tape measure handy, about 10 inches is what you want. And I'm keeping these really nice and loose. Another thing I forgot to mention is that you are going to want to have a stitch marker handy. This will help you to identify the first stitch of each round. Okay, so here's my 10 inches of work, about 36 chains here. If I could get my tape measure to lay flat, I don't want to stretch it too much. So anyway, and these are loose chains, but somewhere in there. Now all you're going to do is kind of keep those little V's facing outward. We don't want the chain to twist on us. Bring this around. Get your tail under there. So with the chain facing me, I am going to slip stitch the very first stitch together, just like that. And now I will grab a stitch marker and mark that just underneath the loop of that first V right there. That's the stitch I just made. Now I'm going to work underneath the top loop of each chain around fairly loosely again with these slip stitches, and just slip stitch the entire round. You can find so the version I did last year was completely slip stitch, and I made it with a little bit smaller yarn. I made it with the Bernat Softy Cotton, which gives it an even more very nice knit look. I did love that, but they took a little bit longer than what I wanted to spend making a headband. So I thought this year, let me make one with a row of single crochet in between those slip stitches. And that's what this pattern is today. So I'll put a link down in the comment box or the description box if you're just seeing this on YouTube to the other patterns. You can kind of get an idea. And I think I made those a little bit more narrow last year. They were 9.5 inches. But this year I liked the little bit wide, going back to slightly wider look. So you can, somewhere in there, 9.5, 10 inches is a good number to aim for. Especially these are double thick. You know, because once we get this tube made, I'm going to sew through all of those layers, and it's a nice double thick headband. Okay, here's our last one, our last slip stitch. And that's one thing I like. I put the stitch marker in that front loop so I can go ahead, make my first single crochet, and then I will move that stitch marker up. If anything, this is the tedious thing to do, but it really helps because when I didn't use the stitch marker, then I kind of would lose track of where this seam was. So just working under the back loop with single crochet. That's what this round will be. So it's very, very simple pattern, but you just get just a beautiful look. Now, you also could choose to turn it inside out and use the other side. You'll see as it grows that there's either side looks beautiful. So it's personal preference there. I chose to keep this side to the outside, but this side as it grows starts to look really pretty too. It just has more of a lined look to it. All right, well, I'm just going to keep working on this. Just keep that stitch marker going. Replacing it as the first stitch of the round so that you know right when you get up to it, that's when you will change back to the slip stitch or change back to the single crochet. So we're alternating one round of slip stitch, one round of single crochet. And my girls love giving these as gifts. They love making them at the holiday time because it's just something to keep their hands busy while we watch all those Hallmark movies. And I do think these make great gifts. Okay, one last change, and then I will meet you back after I work on this. These take me several hours. I'm not going to say this is a quick one. These aren't near as quick as the Velvet Twist headbands, but boy, they sure are nice. Okay, so there's my stitch marker. That will tell me that it's time to switch stitches. I'm going to slip stitch, replace it just under that front loop, and now I'll slip stitch each stitch around. So maybe you can kind of start seeing the fabric, but I'll show you when I come back on. Oh, I'm going to go for 21 inches. I'm doing these 1 inch less than the circumference of an average woman's size head, which is 22 inches. So I'm making these 21 inches. So how did you do? It's been a couple days for me having to have time to work on this. And, but I found it really relaxing, and I did, if you can kind of see, this is where all of my changes took place. So I think I only missed it a little bit. So we want to make sure that when you end, this is going to be on the inside. So we'll fold that, and it looks like I might have creeped over a little bit, but basically you can't really tell. But make sure it's on the inside. So when we fold it together and make the twist, we want, let's see, we want this to be, make sure it's on the outside so that when we turn it inside out, it will be on the inside. So there you go. A little bit about the size. I made this 21 inches long. It's about 74 rounds. So all you're going to do is we're going to clip us a fairly long tail so that we have enough to sew through this thicker fabric, thicker yarn. So just pull that through. There's that other end. Okay, if you can tell. So what I do is just basically fold it in half and then move it half over. And then I will wrap this half around the back and this around the front. So you're kind of making a little sandwich here, if you can see. Kind of ignore one of the ends for right now. Get my tapestry needle. Actually, you're probably going to want to thread that first before you do the folding, which I should have done, but here we go. Okay, so this is on the outside here. I'll just get it over here. There we go. Basically, you really want to make sure that you are going through all the layers. There's going to be 8 layers here. And just pull. And now I've kind of just been with this yarn, so since it's so thick and puffy, I'll do a couple almost in the same spot and then work my way down. And I think I'll go ahead and like tie a knot with this other end so that I can just clip that other end off. I don't worry so much about weaving it in. It's more important to just make sure your needle is going through all the layers. And you want to definitely do it very secure. But I think that's what's so fun about making these twist headbands is how the ease. You sew them together and then you're just done. Done, done, done. So as long as you've folded it together and sewn it, you know, the fold is probably the most important thing. I think I'm done here. And then I'll just kind of snake that end through to disguise it a tiny bit. There we go. Snip and snip. And here's the magic. So we've got that sewn together. Remember, our seam is on the outside because we are twisting it in. And there you go. You have got your headband, your twist headband. These are so cute. I love it in red. Here's the one in green. And here's one in, gosh, I need to look to see what those colors are. But anyway, here we go. I've got 3 gifts ready. Yay! Super fun. These are, my girls love me to make these so they can pass them out to their friends. You know, because they're just simple, really cute. And I just love how the stitch looks. Simple. Again, I have other patterns that are, a different pattern, and it's all the back loop slip stitch. You could do these all back loop single crochet if you don't want to mess around. You get a look with every different stitch. They're just super nice and doubled up though. That's what I really love about them. Okay, I'm loving working with this red heart brushed Super Savers. All right, so thank you so much for stopping by to learn how to make these twist headbands. So you guys have a good day. Thanks for coming by.